The eCom Seller Summit was created to prove that with the right tools and training, anyone and everyone can make money in e-commerce. So many people want to try their hand at e-commerce, selling on eBay, Amazon, Shopify, and more, but they're afraid they won't be successful. This summit will show you that there's many ways to do e-commerce, and there are many platforms you can explore, because e-commerce really has no limits. It really can pay your bills, and e-commerce never sleeps. There's nothing like waking up to profits from getting sales all night long. My name is Nicole Whitlock, and this is the eCom Seller Summit. Hello, this is Nicole with the eCom Seller Summit, and welcome to the masterclass session for Greg Webb. Now, Greg is an amazing seller. He has been selling for a while. I'm going to let him tell his story. But one of the things that I'm always in awe about when it comes to Greg is the fact that he knows how to find inventory and make a lot of money on it, especially with the focus on toys. I'm always excited to hear about that because I'm a toy seller as well, not to the degree that Greg is. So I'm glad that Greg is here. I'm glad he's part of the summit. So Greg, take it away.
Hey, welcome everybody again. My name is Greg Webb. I've been selling on Amazon for now. This is my 7th year. And I've written a book on toys called Toyfolio. And I'm going to share a little bit about toys tonight and kind of my journey. I'll start off just saying a little bit about why I got on Amazon. I actually started Amazon as a means to put my wife through grad school. I just wanted to make a couple extra $100 a month because that would have been life-changing money back then, and it's morphed into something way more than I could ever imagine. So I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity that Amazon has provided for me and my family. But especially when I was starting on Amazon, I'm working a full-time job. I'm trying to do this before 8 o'clock in the morning, after 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, and time can be limited. And so I really want to sympathize and kind of talk to people who have this idea of, well, where am I going to find time to do this around my busy schedule? All right, so I want to kind of share a big tip and secret. It's not really a secret, but it's a huge tip that's going to save you a ton of time while you're sourcing, while you're prepping inventory for Amazon. Here in a second. So really want to talk to those people that really want to save and utilize their time to the best that they can while they're sourcing and selling on Amazon. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my method of listing and prepping inventory to send to FBA. So one of the main things that I do in my business is I really don't merchant fulfill anything. Just because I don't have the time to do that. If you're working a full-time job or whatever, I don't have time to constantly look at orders and get those out and everything. FBA is a lifesaver because I can just send it all to Amazon. Amazon handles the rest. I can drop it on the way to work. I can drop it off during a lunch break or whatever I need to do. So I use Inventory Lab. You do not have to use Inventory Lab, but Inventory Lab is a lifesaver. In my opinion, I'm going to show you what I do. So if you're looking at my screen, you're going to see a Lego set that I've just randomly picked. All right, so we're just going to use these as examples. And what I'm going to show you here is I'm just going to grab the ASIN off of this listing. All right. And actually, if you're watching this, this is a free BOLO for anybody that's watching this. If you look at the Keep a Chart, this is a fairly new to market Lego set that is selling for $80 MSRP when Amazon is in stock. And when Amazon is out of stock, it is selling for close to $145 FBA. So if we just quickly do some math here on Rev Seller, which is a Chrome extension, I believe it's like a one-time $100 membership for Rev Seller. But you can make a quick 46% ROI at a really good rank in toys if you wanted to quick flip this Lego set. You can buy inventory from Amazon and sell back on Amazon. The only caveat and the only rule that Amazon has with that is that you have to not use a Prime account. All right, so you cannot buy with a Prime account and then try to sell it. You have to use a non-prime account, so that could just be a regular non-prime account. But what I do is I have a business account, and I buy stuff with my business account, and it allows me to purchase items like this Lego set tax-free. So that's another little tip. So anyway,
Let's go, guys. If you did not catch that, I would rewind the tape and watch that part again. But anyway, go ahead.
so what I'm going to do, you can do this in Seller Central, you can do this in Inventory Lab. I simply am taking this ASIN, and I'm going to add it to a batch in Inventory Lab. So I'm going to paste it here, and we're going to wait for it to come up in Inventory Lab. We're going to select it, and then you have to kind of fill out all this information. This defaults to the tax code. There's no batteries in the Lego set. And then I'm just going to say that it was $80 and say that we bought it today. So put today's date, and we got it from Amazon. All right, so this is what I like about Inventory Lab, is it allows you to enter all your buy costs, your date purchased, the supplier, and it runs all these like neat reports for you, and it just does all your accounting for you as well. So stuff that Seller Central just doesn't do. Doesn't have an expiration date. Your MSQ is something that you can leave blank and they'll like automatically populate it for you. But this is really good information where you can kind of like hide important information that you want to know, because nobody else can see this except you. So my strategy personally is I list the category, I list sometimes just the date of the month and the year, sometimes the actual day of the year. So we'll just do 21, today's date. I like to abbreviate the source. In this case, we bought it from Amazon. Oftentimes in the scenario of a Lego set, I like to include the Lego number, just because a lot of times I'm listing multiple Lego sets at once. And then I like to include the price. So what this allows me to do is when I'm in Seller Central and I'm deciding on if I want to sell this item, if I want to lower my price and kind of compete with the buy box or whatever, I can see how long I've had it because I have the date in which I purchased it. And I can also see what I paid for it. So really quickly, I'm able to kind of see, all right, how long have I had this? Am I going to be accruing storage fees? Am I going to be making a profit if I lower the price a little bit? All that kind of stuff. Okay. So this is free information for you. So use it to your advantage. And then we're going to match the below FBA price. And you can see Inventory Lab is saying that 46% ROI, just like the Rev Seller calculator was saying. And so we're going to add this to batch. All right, so the quantity here doesn't matter because what I'm going to show you here, we're basically just going to tell Amazon that we have these and we have them like in hand, like in our possession, but it's not going to show up in stock on Amazon. So you can do one or a lot. A lot of times I like to go ahead and put the quantity that I have because I have my Inventory Lab account set up to automatically print labels for the number that I'm selling. So this is what's going to allow me to prep them ahead of time. So say that I bought, 25 of these at one time or whatever, and then when I add it to batch, it's going to print 25 labels for me. You may see here my Dymo is not plugged in, but it's trying to print 25 labels right now, but it's not allowed to. So Inventory Lab gives you all these nice clean numbers of like your total buy cost and your total net profit and all that kind of stuff. It's really fun to look at. But anyway, for the purpose of this, all toys need to be prepped by labeling them. If this was say a plush toy or something where the packaging was opened and you had to be, if you were touching the toy, most of the times it would need a poly bag or something like that. And Inventory Lab would tell you if you need a poly bag, and I'll show you where that is really quick. I'll go back and show you this. It'll tell you right here at the top of the page in Inventory Lab where prep type is. It'll say, poly bag or bubble wrapped or taped or whatever. It'll have all these different things. So I'm taking note of what kind of prep it needs, and then obviously all the toys are going to need to be labeled. So going to
And
save.
can I ask a quick question? I know you're going through this.
Sure.
So, is there any other tool that you found? Like, what tool were you using prior to connecting to, using the inventory lab? Was there another tool you were using, or were you manually tracking this stuff, or what were you doing?
As far as like tracking like my buy cost and all that kind of stuff, or
Yeah, just tracking everything that you get out of inventory lab. I won't say everything, but using inventory lab prior to using inventory lab, what tool were you using?
I basically started using Inventory Lab at like the end of 2016, 2017. So within
Okay.
like the first 2 years, so I've been using it for
A while.
4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
Before that, I was a smaller seller, and I was basically just doing spreadsheets and
That's okay.
keeping filing receipts and trying to keep as clean a records as I possibly could. But
Okay.
Inventory Lab does have a profit and loss report that is super nice. That's automatically updated because it syncs with your Amazon account.
Okay.
It's really, really nice.
And
But
for new sellers, when would you recommend that they transition potentially to using Inventory Lab when they have over 100 in inventory, over 100, over 25 SKUs, over 10 SKUs? Like, when would you recommend that they might transition when they're profitable? Because I always say you need to wait until you're profitable before you invest in software. If you're not profitable, then you don't need to be buying software because then you're just going to say it's another expense. That's
right, and that's a good rule of thumb too. I always tell people that my biggest like regret with Inventory Lab was not signing up sooner.
okay.
Um, yeah, so definitely like I would definitely say try to like do Amazon on your own for at least 6 months to a year before you, like you said, start buying a bunch of software. Like prove to yourself that Amazon works. Prove to yourself that you're going to stick with it
Yep.
and really, take this business seriously.
Yep.
But when you get to that point, Inventory Lab is probably one of the first things that you need to purchase because it just literally makes my life 1,000 times easier. It makes listing products easier. It makes doing shipments easier. It keeps really good records of like profit and loss. I can import mileage, all kinds of like special expenses, all kinds of stuff. Like I've got shoppers that shop for me. I can like track how profitable they are with Inventory Lab, all kinds of stuff.
Okay. All right. So I say waited 3 to 6 months before you pull the trigger, but make sure that you're consistent for 3 to 6 months before you pull the trigger on buying software. That's my whole thing. And so, yes, you need to be profitable and be consistent for 3 to 6 months. So, this is for you and then pull the trigger. He recommends Inventory Lab. I'd agree with him. So let's keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, good. All right. So basically, the main goal of what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to prep inventory ahead of time so that I can go ahead and like box it and have it FBA ready whenever I want to send it. Because if any Amazon seller knows that getting a shipment out the door is sometimes not the fastest task there is. Sometimes it can take hours to do that, and you think you have enough time to get it done, and sometimes you miss the window to get it out the door on the day that you wanted it. So the whole concept of what I'm doing is having inventory ready to go anytime that you want, any time of the year, and especially during Q4. I want to be outsourcing in Q4 versus prepping and sending inventory, where I can just send inventory every day at Q4 and be out shopping the rest of the day. And that's exactly what I was doing this past Q4. Was I was sending a shipment every day in Q4 to Amazon FBA. And I don't know very many sellers that are able to do that, but it was because I was doing exactly what I'm showing you right here by prepping inventory all year long to have it ready.
Okay.
So I'm going to review the batch. You can add multiple items here, but just for the sake of doing this, we're going to review the batch, and I'm going to submit the shipment. All right, so this is the most important screen on what I'm showing you today. Is if you leave this box right here checked, it is going to create a shipment for you to send those 25 units to Amazon. All right, you do not want to do that right now. You want to keep the units and prep them and have them ready to go to FBA whenever you want to later on, months from now. So all you're going to do here is you're just going to simply uncheck that box right there, all right? Because what this does, send product feeds, is it sends all that information that you just did on that listing for that Lego set. It sends it to Seller Central, and it just simply becomes an inactive listing in Seller Central. So Amazon knows, that you have it, I guess, is technically in your inventory, but it's not live, it's not for sale, it's not active. It just simply exists in your inventory, which allows you to prep it ahead of time. And then when you want to send it later, I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second too. All right, so after you uncheck that box, you're going to sync, and then you're done. That's literally all you have to do. You've already printed your labels because the inventory lab printed the labels ahead of time. If this were, again, something that you needed to polybag or something, this is when you can go ahead and polybag it, label it, and box it, and then you're done. So that's how you send a product feed. That's how I prep inventory all year long. Now, when I want to send this, if I want to send this Lego set, let's do copy the ASIN again. And when I search it this time, it should already exist in my inventory. All right. Did the same process that I just did, searched it in a new batch. I selected it. And as you can see, it popped up here because it's an existing SKU in my inventory. All right. There's none in stock. There's none inbound. It's already got my price saved and everything. And all I'm going to do is simply replenish this. All right. So pretend that we just listed it in February. Fast forward to November. I want to send this in for December Q4. All right. This is when I can send these in, and literally within like 15 minutes, I could decide, okay, I'm going to send these, print the shipping labels, and then have it to the UPS drop off within a matter of 15-20 minutes. So another trick is when you have it already prepped, if you prep toys with a quantity of, if you have at least 18, it doesn't have to be 18 in a box. It all goes to one fulfillment center. So what I'm going to show you here is if I put at least 18 here as my quantity, again, Inventory Labs already saved all this information. I don't have to do any of this over again. All right, I just add to batch, and it's going to send all 18 to one fulfillment center. Again, I don't have to have 18 in one box. This could be 2 boxes of 9. It could be 3 boxes of 6. Whatever combination that you want to go ahead and prep and box ahead of time is up to you. But if you send 18 of them at one time using the individual products method of sending units, it all goes to one warehouse. If I go to edit, and I show you what happens if I try to send less than 18. If I just put 17 here and hit save, it's going to split it up into 3 fulfillment centers. All right, so this is where I also see a lot of Amazon sellers kind of complaining in like Facebook groups and stuff like that because they're sending products all over the country, different places or whatever, and they complain about the shipping costs and everything. Just this one little thing right here can reduce that entirely. You can send it all to one fulfillment center.
Okay, so one other thing. So this actually will save you the extra cost if you do inventory placement inside your Amazon Seller Central.
Yeah, you can do it that way too. Yeah, there's
but that inventory placement is going to cost you extra money though, versus this way. Yeah. So this is a less expensive way of getting it all to go to one one center instead of using inventory placement in your Amazon Seller Central account. So less expensive.
You could also do select a case packed option. Say if you had like 16 of these Lego sets, you could do 2 cases of like 8 units, and you could do it that way, and it would send them to one fulfillment center. also, but this is like the individual products method, and it's, I can get into the weeds with both of them, but most of the time, individual products is going to at least save you some money, because if you're sending smaller case packed shipments, it's going to cost more money too, because you're sending in smaller units over and over and over and over again. That shipping does add up.
Yep.
But like I said, hopefully this will save you a ton of time when prepping inventory and getting inventory out the door, and it'll save you a ton of money in shipping. Also, it's also kind of a incentive to sometimes buy a little bit more than maybe you may be comfortable with. Not saying uncomfortable with, maybe that's not the right word, but I know a lot of sellers, they're like, okay, I'm only going to buy 10 units of this and only like 5 units of this. All right. I tell people, go ahead and buy 20. Like if it's a good buy, go ahead and buy 20. That way it always meets the rule of 18 threshold.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can send it all in one shipment. The money you try to save in buying less than 18 units, a lot of times you save that money and you're able to buy 20. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's another golden nugget. All right.
Yeah. All right. So from here, I just basically want to kind of like talk through some examples of toys that I bought and sold in 2020, and kind of like break down my thought process of like why it was a buy, why I bought it, and like the whole method of what I do with a Toyfolio and buying and holding toys. So we'll do that for the remainder of the time. Just want to kind of talk through a bunch of different toys and different scenarios and whatnot.
Okay.
The first toy that I want to talk about is this Gujitsu. If you have not heard about Gujitsu, like there's all kinds of series, all different characters. Some of them can be super valuable. Some of them are just kind of, average and whatnot. And we're going to kind of talk about one this one's kind of just like an average one. It's more rare to find in stores. But the main thing that I want to talk about with this one is that a lot of times I hear sellers get scared off of a listing because there's too many sellers on the listing. You ever heard that, Nicole? Like people just completely skip over inventory because they think there's too many sellers on the listing.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So what I want to kind of like just talk about for a second here is that it just always depends on the product, and it always depends on your margins. It always depends on the historical price points as well. As you can see here on the Keepa chart, these orange sections here are represented by Amazon being in stock at $9.99. All right, so you could find this in stores. Walmart, Target had them at $9.99. Amazon is just another retailer, just like those stores. They had it at $9.99. You could buy it from them, resell it on Amazon. But as you can see here, you buy it $9.99, and the price really only ever gets to like $25. All right, that's really the highest that it's ever been. It's right around $25. And I want to point out here that in the middle, in the heat of Q4, December 9th, all right, this is when people are just like buying stuff like crazy for Christmas, because Christmas is, 15, 16 days away.
Yep.
And the number of sellers here is at an all-time high, right around 205 people on this listing.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. Okay.
205 people on one listing. All right. And most people are going to say, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, all this kind of stuff. All right.
I'm probably that chick. Yeah.
Right? But what I want to make clear to people is that it always depends on the situation of the product. All right. So in this situation, we have a toy that is ranked close to the top 1,000 in toys. All right. That is moving. All right. There is hundreds upon thousands of units being sold during the month of December on a toy that is ranked 1,000 in the toys and game category. All right. So there's a serious volume going on here. If we look at the Rev Seller calculator here, it was like $23 at the peak. Right? Is that right? 205 sellers, $22.95 was the price. Right? And you bought it for $9.99. right? Even at the peak sellers, even at not even the highest price it has been, it's 60% ROI, right? Again, on a toy that's ranked in the top 1,000, right? You could have hundreds of these and sell out. That was my biggest thing that I learned my very first Q4 is that I did not have enough inventory.
Yes.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's common. Yeah.
When I got to that first Q4, I thought I was, I didn't know what to expect. And I watched all these toys just sell out. I sold out way too early. I didn't have enough inventory to make it through the month of December. So stuff like this is stuff that excites me because I can sell through literally over 100 of these within a matter of days at that sales rank and at 60% ROI. All right. I call this a solid base hit. All right. Because it's not a home run where you're going to be making 100 and 200% ROI, but it is a solid base hit that does its job and makes you a ton of money if you go and buy volume. Right.
Correct.
Possible to do in Q4. So I'm just basically with this one, I'm just kind of dispelling the myth that you can't sell on something that has a ton of sellers and make money because you definitely can in the right environment, in the right scenario.
Yeah, and I always look at, I will say that 75% of the time I'm like, okay, let me just see what the sales rank is for this particular product. And you can see the rotation of how quickly the buy box is rotating for people because of the fact that, it's a product that's moving. It's moving like crazy. If the sales rank is ridiculous, it's going to go cycle through all those sellers. So 75% of the time, if the sales rank is not where I like for it to be, then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to pass. So now you gave me something different, a different perspective on it. Because 25% of the time I'll hang out. If the sales rank is amazing, it's ridiculous. I'm be like, I'm in. I'm staying here. Go to sell it and make the money.
Exactly. Got several more I'm going to talk about really quickly.
Okay.
It's kind of walking through, like I said, these are just products that are good examples of things these are all products that I've shared in my mastermind group. As Nicole mentioned in the intro video, it's completely sold out. It's maxed out. You can join a wait list, and we'll try to get the link for that later. But this is another example of an Amazon flip. All right, so this is where we're buying items from Amazon, reselling them back on Amazon. And I really like to dig into Keepa. Keepa is this Chrome extension that I'm using here. Keepa is free, but they do have a paid version where you can see more information on these charts. It's very cheap. It's like $115 for a year subscription, or I think you can do like a $15 or $20 monthly membership. Very cheap, but it's super important to my business because I really like to study Keepa charts, because if you can study and understand the Keepa chart, then you make a lot of money. All right. And so what I'm seeing on this Keepa chart here is like, okay, this thing went crazy and got to over $100 this one time. All right. It's an anomaly up until this point because there's no other data back here supporting this or whatever. But when I see it come back in stock, I'm watching this price and I'm getting alerts. I set Keepa alerts for this item. And you can do this just by going to track a product. And you can tell Keepa, all right, let me know when Amazon comes back in stock for 40 or less. And then you start tracking, and it'll send you an email or it'll send you a Telegram message, whatever you want it to do. All right. So this is an example of I'm watching this product and noticed on Keepa, I'll zoom in here within the last year. And this is just the way my mind works. All right. Amazon dropped this thing all the way down to like $19, $20 a couple times. All right. If you look here in the orange shaded area, they just keep going up and down. All right. They were 46 back here at the beginning of July. By August, they're down below 19. All right. So I'm looking at this historical information and seeing, all right, okay. In my mind, I'm like, all right, this thing popped to over $100 before, but when Amazon's in stock, they're historically around that $40 price point. Most of the time, they average around $40. So when I see it go down into the $19-20 range, that is like just screaming buy in my mind. And this is why. Is because it is super low risk in my opinion, because I can buy this for just on, let's say, an average on $20. And on average, if I had to sell with Amazon in stock on $40, I can make 42% ROI. Now, I'm dispelling another myth here, is that you can't sell on a listing with Amazon on the listing as well. All right. You can sell a product with Amazon on the listing, and you can be profitable selling with Amazon on the listing as long as you have margins. If you buy this at 20 and Amazon is at 40 and you wait until they get back up to 40, 45 to sell it, you can price match them or just slightly undercut them, and you can sell products all day long. Do not ignore products where you can compete with Amazon competitively. All right, so this is what I'm basically trying to say in this example, is that compete with Amazon when you have margins to do so. And in this example, if you bought this around 20, then historically you have the margins to do this. All right, and it just worked out. Amazon went out of stock in Q4, and I didn't sell it at 100, but I sold it at like 75, I believe.
Nice.
So, all right.
Nice. So that's another golden tidbit there, for sure.
All right. Several more. We're just going to kind of walk through really quickly. Several of these have after this are examples of items that I found in stores. This is an example of a product that I found at Walmart. And definitely when you're shopping Walmart and Target, always pay attention to their exclusives. Right? These are toys that are only carried in that particular store. And if you don't know, Walmart and Target do a huge toy clearance every summer. So these were on clearance during the summertime. I think the lowest they got was 9.
Okay.
I think they were like $35 MSRP. They went to $17 at one point, and then the lowest, like I said, was 9. So I bought some of these at 17. I bought some of these at 9. And this is what I'm trying in my book and trying in my mastermind and just in general, everywhere that I get a chance to say it, is that you don't want to sell as soon as you buy something on clearance most of the time if you're buying it at a nationwide clearance, because everyone in the country is buying the same things and everybody in the country tries to sell right then and there, and the prices almost always tank. All right, so this is exactly what you see here. This item was selling for 85 FBA. People find it on clearance. All these sellers come on the listing right here. The price goes from 85 to 47. All right, it just putting into our calculator here. If you're buying at 17 and 47, this is oversized. You're still making good money, but when you see historically that it's selling at $85, I want, instead of 40%, I want 200+%. All right. So this is what I try to tell people, is that if you can buy and hold inventory, especially Walmart exclusives that were on clearance, Walmart is not bringing these toys back to their store. They are gone.
Hello.
All right. They are gone.
Hello.
Right. So don't be in a rush to sell them, because only in a matter of time, these toys are only going to be available on third-party marketplaces. All right. That means Amazon, eBay, wherever, other platform there is. But Amazon right now is king, and Amazon demands the highest prices. All right. So this one passed 85 in December. Right. There were multiple people in my group that were selling these for $125 a piece in December. All right.
Okay.
After buying them for $9 and $17 in July. All right. You can hold 5 months. 5 months is the difference between selling at 47 and selling it at 125, 135.
Oh my goodness. Buy and hold pays off, guys. Buy and hold pays off.
Yeah.
That is some ridiculous ROI.
Yeah. This is another Walmart exclusive, and I'll talk about this one really quickly. This one was in the spring clearance. All right, so there's multiple clearance seasons at Walmart. Usually the big ones are in January and July. Then they have like smaller ones in April and October. So this was part of April's clearance. These were put on clearance at Walmart for $17 back in April of 2020. All right, and you can see it right here on the Keepa chart. Starting in April, all these sellers come on the listing. All right, the price goes from $65, $75 all the way down to right around 40. All right, again, you're buying at 17, selling at 40. It's not bad. This is a small and light product. You can make 80% ROI really quickly. All right, which is not bad money. If you want cash flow, then by all means, then do that. But you need to make sure that you're looking at a Keepa chart before you decide to sell. Because if you look at the Keepa chart, you can quickly see that this item sells very well for $65, $70 plus. And again, what we said earlier, it's a Walmart exclusive. It's not coming back. Right? There were people, I was one of them, that were selling these for $125 in December just because I held out. So again, this is the power of buying toys that you can't find anymore. All right, looking and studying at Keepa, and then implementing patience and discipline. It's simply that's all it is.
Amazing. Okay. All right. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Got just a few more. Again, this was just a simple Barbie doll. I'll give you a hint when you're looking at Barbies. Any kind of male Barbie usually does very well.
Okay.
That's simply because they're not as commonly made, right? You go to a Walmart or Target, and there's an entire Barbie aisle, and 98% of all the Barbies that are on the aisle are all girls.
Yep.
So, but there's a market for male Barbie dolls. Males and boys and girls want male Barbie dolls. So they're harder to find to start with. Again, this was a Walmart exclusive, so Amazon's not anywhere in sight. So when you find these in July for like $2.50, $3 on clearance, again, if you look back at historical information on Keepa, you can see that it consistently sells between like 16 and 20 bucks. So when people tank the listing down to under 12, again, you can make good money, right? You can make really good money selling right then, but you don't ever want to sell, in my opinion, at the top of the sellers right here, right? I call this a mountain, right? You never want to sell at the top of the mountain, because when you're at the top of the mountain, the number of sellers is at the highest it'll ever be, and most of the time, the price point is the lowest it will ever be. All right, it's all tied together. Right, you want to wait until you are on the bottom side of the mountain, on the right side of this mountain, before you sell. I was one of very few people selling this in Q4. I didn't. Unfortunately, it's already up at 40, which is really, really kind of neat that it's already up at that price. I sold out of these at right around $25 a piece.
Wow.
In Q4.
Nice.
We got time for a few more, Nicole?
We do.
Okay. Again, Walmart clearance in July. These got all the way down to $5 a piece. The number of sellers goes from 20 all the way up to like 75. Price goes from 45 to 25, I believe. Yeah, $25. So a $20 price point difference, all right? That's a lot of profit that people are leaving on the table. Again, and I sound like a broken record, because you want to be looking at Keepa's historical price points. and looking at all this historical information, and you don't want to sell below this historical average here. Right? You will make the most money holding out. And these just went nuts. There were multiple people in the group that I lead that were selling these for 60 plus in December. Again, this is just the power of a Walmart exclusive on clearance. Amazon's not on the listing. If you hold them for Q4, great things happen. You can make, and this is the other point that I'm trying to make to people that may be working a full-time job that are short on time, in combination with what I showed you at the very beginning of the presentation with prepping inventory ahead of time.
Yeah.
Buying and holding toys allows you to make more money with less inventory. So you make better margins with less inventory, which means you're also prepping less items, you're spending less time, sourcing, all that kind of stuff. You can basically make a full-time income if you buy and hold and sell at the right times with just a handful of products. Because again, these were $5 selling for over 60. Right? If we just punch 60 just for argument's sake, you're making close to $40 a pop. Right? And there were 10 of these, in some Walmarts, 5 to 10 of these in every Walmart that I went into. I mean, you do the math. If you just hit a couple of stores, you're making just $400 to $1,000 off this one product in Q4.
Wow. This is amazing.
Two more. Advent calendars are by far my favorite item to sell. Even better, or I even enjoy selling advent calendars more than I love selling Legos. And I haven't really talked a whole lot about Legos. That would be a whole nother presentation. But I like selling advent calendars because the way the advent calendars work, if you do not know, is that advent calendars are made for a particular year, and then 95% of the time they are not made again. All right, so they're released for the year they release in, and then by the next year they're gone. You can't find them anymore. So that plays perfectly into the buy and hold strategy because people still want them the following year. And the way calendars also work is that they're not tied to a particular calendar year. You can use a advent calendar that was released in 2020 in 2025. It doesn't matter what year it is. It always works. So these, I look for advent calendars every year in January. These were put on clearance at the end of 2019. I believe in Walmart marked these down in stores all the way. They went all the way down to like $4 in some stores. Most of them were in the like $7 to $20 range. They even put these online on clearance for $20 a piece.
Oh my gosh!
That's
gold right there. If you can find them online,
All right, you can see right here, December 31st, where I got my cursor. You can see right there on the Amazon. Amazon was in stock for $20 too. You could have bought these from Amazon for $20. Walmart was price matching them for $20. Right, and that is over 50% off MSRP, what it is back here. All right, so you buy them at the end of the season, all right, and then you just simply hold them for the next November. All right, and that's all I did here. Is most of the year there's not a lot of movement on it because people aren't buying advent calendars during the middle of the year.
Correct.
But as soon as September, October rolls around, prices start to move, and these nuts. All right, these I sold out between $90 and $100. All right, and I will just say 90 for argument's sake. Bought my average buy cost was under 20. We'll just use 20 for argument's sake, and I'll let you do the math. That's $50 in profit, and I had 200 of these.
Nice. That's nice. Okay, so let's do, if you have one more, do one more. Otherwise, we can wrap it up. But oh my goodness, that is gold.
Yeah.
That's pure gold. Yeah, I think people pay attention. For those who decide that they're going to take good notes or either grab the all access pass, like this is gold right here. Okay.
Yeah, one more is just more or less if you didn't know, most Amazon sellers know that you can buy stuff at Ollie's, and it's more or less, I was just sharing an example from Ollie's. Ollie's is a store that's in most of the time, it's on the East Coast. I believe there's some in the Midwest. I do know there are none on the West Coast, but
We
this
just
is,
got in Texas. We just got a few in Texas, and let me just tell
yeah,
you, we've been hitting them up. But yes,
yeah, it's just, it's just an
yes,
awesome store.
yes, it is.
Yeah, but it's just another example of like these were put in stores at the end of October, early November. All these sellers came on the listing. The price tanked from like above like 95 all the way down to 73. All right. I just try to tell people these were $40 in store. Ollie's is famous for coupons where you get 10% off.
Yep.
My buy cost was 36. Right. Again, 40% ROI is nothing to sneeze at. But again, you want to make the most of your time and effort. Right? You at least want to sell at the historical average, right, which is getting you close to 100%. All right, I sold out of these at 110. All right, where I was making $45 a piece off of these. All right, again, you just want to work smarter, not harder. And if you're the person that's sending stuff in as soon as you find it on a nationwide deal, you are leaving money on the table. And so I just really want to speak to the people that are doing that you can drastically increase your margins if you just implement a little bit of patience and a little bit of discipline into studying Keepa and then sourcing and prepping and everything just with a little bit of intentionality.
All right. So Greg has given us a lot of gold, and I'm going to let him wrap up. But just want to make a note. Okay, Keepa. There should be a link somewhere on this page for Keepa. Rev Seller was another Chrome extension that he recommended, and then Inventory Labs. There should be a link somewhere on this page. So those are the tools that he uses. And again, right now, I know. I think. Are you still working a full time job? Or are you not working one? You're just like,
Yes and no.
yeah. Here we go. He's
Yeah,
retiring soon.
yeah. I am working full time, but I have a lot of flexibility, so I'm very blessed in being able to do that.
See, so he's doing this. He's getting these ridiculous margins on these ridiculous products. He used his Amazon sales over the last few years to pay for his wife's schooling. Like, did you catch that at the beginning if you weren't paying attention? So for those people who are not sure that you can make a lot of money selling on Amazon to be able to cover expenses, you absolutely can. And then the other thing is his buy and hold strategy, which means you have less inventory to handle, higher ROI. That is gold right there. So I don't know what else you want to cover. I just wanted to recap that piece because that was a lot of great information. Go ahead, Greg. What do you got next?
So that's pretty much it. If you want to follow me online, I'm more so on Twitter at Toyfolio. I do have an Instagram account that I'm getting going. It's also at Toyfolio. The book that you get with the All Access Pass on Gumroad. There is a link there that you can schedule a one-on-one call with me if that's something that you are interested in, and I can do some one-on-one coaching with you. Again, the masterclass, the WhatsApp group that I lead, it is completely full, but there is an opportunity to join a wait list where you can get into a group where I basically share all these deals that I've talked about tonight and discuss them and kind of give my thoughts on them, in real time.
Okay. So there should be links to his social media assets definitely on this page where you're watching. In addition to that, there'll be a link to those who want to upgrade to the All Access Pass. You'll be able to do it right now. And there will be a link to, if you want to get on his wait list, there should be a link somewhere on this page. We want to make sure that you can access him because he just has a lot of golden information. The first time I met Greg, which was when we all met in Jamaica, I was totally impressed with him. So I just want to say, like, that was awesome. The first time I met him, I was like, okay, this Greg dude is doing it. I need to follow him and learn what he is doing. I love anytime that you can actually sell products where you have, you don't have to handle as much inventory, or you streamline the use handling inventory all day long. Like, I'll do that. Then, some of the myths that he just shot a hole in. So, Greg, I am so glad that you're part of the summit. I hope you all enjoyed this session. Is there anything else you want to tell them?
I don't think so. Just thank everybody for their time and just being a part of the summit.
There you go. So we hope this helps you in 2021, level up on your business. Hope you take good notes. And again, this is Greg Webb. He is amazing. So we're going to close it out. This has been another masterclass session with the amazing, the awesome Mr. Greg Webb and the Toy Folio. If you don't upgrade to the All Access Pass, at least go buy the book. Okay. All right. We'll see you later. Thanks so much, Greg.
Yeah, take care. Thank you, Nicole.